So, um, welcome to Ivy Speaks. This is a new project, kind of like my own form of therapy, because in New York State, therapy costs a lot, and being that I am a creative, why can't I use my creative energies to do something to possibly help? And if someone fucking listens and resonates with it, then shit, I did my job. And this episode's supposed to drop on my birthday, even though we are a month before. It's actually Mother's Day right now. But when you hear this, it's not just any day for me. It's my birthday, and instead of blowing out the candles, I'm just dropping something real, something from my heart. So this is the first official episode of Ivy Speaks. This is like the fourth try, but it's not just a podcast. It's a reflection of everything I lived, everything I'm still learning, and every conversation that's helped shape me, especially the ones that I've had with my friends David and Ariel the other day. They told me that growth doesn't come easy. And sometimes life will hit you in the middle of chaos, sometimes in the quiet moments when no one's watching. So if you're here right now and you're on Spotify, thank you for being here. I just want to share some lessons I just, recently learned, because I've been MIA for a while. But these are just my thoughts that, with my honesty, my heart, and with my purpose, it's more than just my voice. And I hope my voice helps you heal at this time. But I have been off the radar. Back in January, I almost died from complications because of diabetes. I was extremely dehydrated, malnourished, because I couldn't force myself to eat due to the sugar intake being high. I was very stressed. And while everyone says, no, you're too young, you're not going to die, you're this, you're that, stop preparing for the worst, stop thinking of the worst, it's kind of hard not to. It's like I'm turning 33. And at almost 33 years old, I think I've almost died maybe about over a handful of times in my life. And it really kind of sticks to you when it's all said and done. Created something called the Get Raw season that launches the time of my birthday, from my birthday to the end of the summer, where I tell my listeners, I tell people to be unapologetically you, right? And by that is to live with no fear, to live with no regret, to live raw. And yes, I do say raw because I am not trying to get sued by the fucking WWE. But I guess, to start with this episode is to talk about the vulnerability within everything, and how I learned a couple of things in this journey in 2025. Because I dead thought that 2025 was going to be that year, right? It's like, yeah, new year, new me, motherfuckers. Nah, it definitely wasn't like that. So like I said, in January, I almost died from complications due to diabetes. And ever since then, I seem to have gotten hit with more and more, which was like my then at the time stepdaughter was in the hospital. After me and my boyfriend then broke up. Then there was a fire that destroyed my mom's home. And I had to shut down my studio. And it's been a very difficult time because if you know me, I'm the person that's always kept everything to the vest. I come from a very traditional Greek household, and I say it like that, where Um, Greek culture was never one that practiced social emotional learning, I guess. And I only say the word social emotional learnings because in my time of working in the community center that I work at, you know, I learned how important it was to become more in touch with your feelings than it was, to keep it under the hood. Because I'm that person that, and my coworkers in any walk of life can vouch for me, in which they can see me lose my shit, and then as soon as the kid came around, I kind of just snapped out of it and sounded like a happy crackhead. And after all of this time, I kind of learned that wasn't it. But I also just learned that we're all just human. And I kind of reflected on that over the last few months, but it's a reflection of the last 10 years. I've lost my brother. I've lost my best friend. I've faced death so many times that I really just didn't know if I was going to get through it. I went from being one of the top female photographers in the Latin industry. Mind you, I'm not even Latina. I got at a young age, since I was maybe 16, 17 years old, I was working parties and going out and trying to make a name for myself outside of the name that was already given to me, right? Because everyone has a family name. Everyone has a family history and a family that they sometimes don't want to be known for. And I'm not saying all of my family was bad. I'm not saying nothing, but when you have to run away from so much hurt and anger, you just want to break through and make your own name. And I spent so much time trying to do that, where it was just, it became a point in my life where I was obsessed with it. I didn't want to be so and so's daughter, and I didn't want to be judged because of their actions. I wanted to be judged because of my own, so I made my own name. I started working with nightlife under Cesar Cabrera and Alofoque Productions. I did teen bashes under G-Spot Entertainment. I was a photographer for GQE Live. Worked all over Uptown, Tri-State. And then I got to the honor of being in media and pursuing an avenue of journalism I never thought I'd be able to. Working with independent artists here, in whether it's hip hop or R&B or Latino, or I just been really blessed to work with some great individuals, and I got to start living some of my dreams with this journey. I got to meet DJ Epps and the infamous Amadeus, and to get to shoot for the Jadakiss concert, Styles P. It's been nothing but an honor to have been able to do all that, to reflect on the good, but to also reflect on what's making me me. And while I had this great career, I feel like I was just failing in everything else. Starting with like my family issues and my brother. I found out I had a brother at a late age, and for a long time, me and him had such a contentious relationship till the end, where we actually wanted to be around each other, where we loved each other. And God just said, fuck you. You know, fuck you and your feelings. You're going to feel this now. So when back in February of 2021, when my boy Fame, shout out to Ray Fame, my older brother, he ended up dying from complications to a attack he suffered the year before. And then my blood brother Christopher passes away from an accidental overdose, which, you know, in New York City means a real overdose. But we're not gonna talk about the failure of the police system to do their job. But because of the lack of understanding and emotional awareness I had, I would feel like I always failed my brother in trying to save him. So now when I see others doing what he did, it just always used to make me like so fucking crazy. And because there's so much worth living for. And some people would just text me that they're overdosing and they're doing shit because it thinks that it absolves them, but it doesn't. And in fact, when a person would tell you that they're overdosing and they're trying to kill themselves, you're not hurting that person you're telling. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting the people around you. There's so many people like my brother who unfortunately took a pill or something to just try to forget about life and just took their life. And some people I don't understand how you can just take life for granted. Granted, I am a very depressed type of individual. If you don't speak to me, you don't know me. You would never even think that I would say this, but in fact I am. I deal with a lot of anxiety, and I've come to learn that there's nothing wrong with all of this. It's because of the culture I lived through that showed me I had to keep everything in like a soldier. And I just always wanted to do the right thing. So from that, I just got out of a 5-year relationship, well, four and some change. And that wasn't an easy feat. I went from being somebody's stepmom and a dog mom with my life together, thinking I'm going to have that home with the kids, and back to adjusting to life as Ivy. And it's kind of like a snapback. It's like, remember the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back? I'm trying to find my groove nowadays, but it's kind of hard because it's 2025 and shit is mad fucking weird. Most men are mostly thinking of the instant gratification, or even just women, right? Because we don't want to be, you know, stereotypical and say it's only just men. Like, everyone just wants instant satisfaction, and or they just want someone to just get past their feelings really quick, to just get into a situationship. Like, the one thing I've kind of learned through this whole thing was in my dark times, especially when I lost my brother, the fact that I got into a relationship after, I kind of feel like I should have waited some time. And that takes a lot for me to say, because I did give my all into this relationship just for it to blow up in my face. And it's okay, to reflect on it because when I was dying, nobody was there, right? And it's not me sounding negative either. But when you learn that from there, that you learn that people aren't going to be there for you, it makes you question everything. And there's nothing wrong with questioning everything, because things might look so beautiful and roses and it's peachy, but it's not. There's no such thing as peachy. There's no such thing as perfect. I spent a lot of time second guessing myself over the last 4 years. Things wouldn't feel right, and when I did talk on it, I would be made to look like I was crazy. And I became a different person that the people that loved me and cared about me did not know. So I'm not saying it was all bad, because it wasn't. But because of how shit ended, I don't know if I can actually ever see the good in certain things. Let alone a month after the breakup, there's a fire at my mom's house that destroyed everything. The home I grew up in, the memories that was made. And yes, I get it. There's such thing as, we got to remember that it's just physical items, and the memories. But once you build together, everything is going to come out bigger than better. But no one understands that it's also a time to mourn. It's a time to feel the pain and to understand that some shit like that changes you. No one can go through what I went through from January until now and act like shit didn't happen. I'm turning 33. I'm in my G this year. And I'm literally restarting my entire life. I went for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to be a short podcast because I'm still trying to figure out how to really be open about everything. And I hope when people listen to this, they learn the following from me, right? Because this is what I could tell you I've really learned over the last 4 years and 5 months that have just passed. When shit doesn't feel right, always ask the questions, because people will give you the song and dance and just to make you shut up. But if your gut is telling you something is wrong, act on it, because you don't want to be stuck in a situation where in the end you're the one heartbroken. Recognize when you're being gaslit. I think that is such a important thing right now. The last few years had me question my mental, because every time I used to say something, and it wasn't just in my relationships, it was also with people. I would ask something because I knew something wasn't right, and they would tell me, "Oh no, you're in your head. Oh, you never told me this." Like, I would have fucking known if you told me this. Were you just talking to yourself again? Now, mind you, I recently was diagnosed with MDD, major depressive disorder, as well as a couple of other things I'm really not ready to disclose yet. But it really, it's such a dickhead move if someone knows that you went through all these things and they want to keep fucking with your mind. It then becomes like a mental exercise to try to keep yourself moving after someone can find ways to manipulate you and bring you down like that. And for 4 years, that's what it was. It was a constant fight for my mental health. I also learned because of that, not everyone is there for you. You know, you would think when you're dying or in the process, like, you don't know if you're gonna make it to see the next day, and that person that you claim is your person is not there for you, and you sitting in a hospital room all alone. And thank God for my mom and the doctors and Himsley at Mount Sinai for taking care of me that night, because I remember throwing up on and off for a month. I lost so much time at work. I was in so much pain. And nobody was hearing me until I just showed up at a hospital damn near collapsing. And they really just did the best to get me up and fluids and out of there. And if it wasn't for them getting me the right doctors that I needed, I now am learning to control the diabetes more efficiently, and I'm feeling better. I lost a lot of weight too within the last few months. But I learned from there, like, if your own significant other or even friends won't be there for you when you need it, what's the point? Like, not everyone is there for you, so you got to be there for yourself. Life's not about always depending on friends or depending on people to get you out of the darkness. A bitch like me grew in the darkness, from when I was born to now, and I dealt with people not wanting me around because of who the fuck my parents were. Shit, my own some of my siblings don't even want me alive as we speak, but we still keep it pushing. Who you are and your past doesn't make who you are now. I've come to learn, even though I am this photographer that was able to make so many things happen for herself before the age of 30. Mind you, I just wanted my success as a way to distract me from everything that I was dealing with at home, everything I kept under the shield, everything I just wanted to, do better. Like, I just needed, my work was my escape. My work is still my escape at 33 years old. But I'm come to learn that I can't let my work and everything define me, because other people define me by my work, and that's how they also defined our relationships. And now that I've also learned, I'm not just my work. I'm also just not your life rafter. Like, you can't come to me in order for you to catch a break. I've learned that I can't make none of you motherfuckers anymore. And I'm okay with that. Like, if some of you guys don't want to talk to me after listening to this, because I'm not here to give anyone a free ride or to do free shoots or to do free anything, because in the end of the day, when my studio burned down, there was only a few that helped, and I will always appreciate that. But the fact that y'all motherfuckers are sitting here thinking I'm the same Katie from 10, 15 years ago is really actually fucking wild. The fact that I have to argue over and over again that I'm not this naive little person, and if I call you out in your bullshit and you get mad, it's not me being emotional. It's me taking a stand for what I believe is right. Excuse me. Because I've been off the radar for so long, I've come to understand who I am now. And it's not just about, who I am as a individual in 2025 trying to make it through dating and work and trying to have a career and, you know, like shit's hit the fan, bro. Like, if you don't understand that, like, I'm not gonna always be there to talk to people at all hours of the night anymore. Like, I can't be there to drop everything because supposedly it's gonna bring more exposure. No. At this point, I've come to learn that this is my time. And for that, it's just, I'm going to be selfish with me and I'm going to be selfish with my team. Because I can't go another 20 years of bullshit and heartache. And they say the normal life expectancy back then or even now is like 70 years old. But we got people living till... We have people living to 103, which I doubt that would be me. But if my grandfather could do it, why not? But I hope this helps somebody. And if you're doing anything for my birthday, take a shot for me. But this is just me. This is Ivy. And it's a wrap, really. I didn't want to celebrate myself. I just wanted to celebrate the journey, every lesson, every conversation, every person who saw me when I didn't see myself. That's what brought me here. And if you're listening, just know your story matters too. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, for growing with me, for showing up. This is only the beginning. We'll be back with more truth, more healing, and more voices that need to be heard. Until next time, keep speaking your truth, even when it shakes the room.